3, 2, 1.
This is The Jungle, an up-close, unvarnished look inside leadership and business strategy. We wade into the real-world leader's face and explore what they do to create a path forward, because that's what business is. Wild, exciting.
It's The Jungle.
And we are back in the jungle. Derek, how you doing?
I'm good, Doug. I'm good. Everything's starting up soon. It's school. It's late August here in Michigan. We're gonna be back to
Summer's gone.
Students. Summer's gone. Summer is gone. It's still beautiful outside though, but summer's gone. And our space is almost ready, Doug. We're almost going to be in the office. This could be the last podcast we do from my spare bedroom.
Yeah, so
kind of weird.
Yeah, so for all the listeners out there, we have a terrific space downtown Kalamazoo for Sleeping Giant Capital, and we will be able to do all of the work for Sleeping Giant Capital, which includes our acquisition program supporting folks who are looking to buy a company in that space. So we'll have accelerator space to have them have opportunity to work and have facilities and resources. We'll have some students downtown. We'll be recording the podcast downtown. We got a digital studio downtown. So it's pretty exciting to see. It's been a little bit of a process through COVID to keep the construction moving, but I was actually down there today. It looks really good. And our guest had a hand indirectly to help in the space. Is that right?
The guest we had, this group, help with the space, help with the construction of the space and the design of it a little bit. So
I think we're going to have I'm excited to see listeners who tune in on YouTube version of the podcast. I'm hoping that they're blown away with the next few podcasts. We have a new student who's going to be helping us with some of the recording. So lots of exciting stuff.
Justice.
Yep. He's Justice will be involved in helping us grow the podcast. So really excited about that. Without further ado, though, we had a great honor of speaking with Julie Byrne, who is president of CSM Group. She became president earlier this year. So still height of pandemic, and had that transition process. CSM Group, we talk a little bit on the podcast for folks who are not in Kalamazoo. I think everybody in Kalamazoo knows them. A great construction management company, 200 employees. They're buildings downtown Kalamazoo, but they also are national. So it was great to have her on as a guest, get her perspectives on the construction industry, what's going on. So it was really fun to have her. Derek, what were your takeaways?
Well, so first, like also a woman leader in construction, and we talked about that on the podcast. So really cool. And if you look at the data, I don't verify this, but 10% of all employees in construction are female. Only 10%. Females make up 50% of the workforce roughly right now. I don't know how that shifted during COVID, but only 10% are in construction. And so this is kind of a unique case. A small N, a president of a construction company group, and she's female and in Kalamazoo. And they do national construction projects, but their headquarters are in Kalamazoo. So shout out to her. If you're a female, think about a job in construction, lots of opportunity there. Shortage of labor across many of the trades. And she talked about that. But my takeaways from her, which I really liked, one, and they go together. One, we asked, what was success? Build credibility, right? And you build credibility by doing things right and knowing your stuff and not pretending like you know something you don't know, but executing at a high level, showing up at a high level. That's how you build credibility. And the second thing I really liked is don't take everything personal, right? Everything's not about you. Everything's not personal. Don't take everything so personal because things move fast. And if you take everything personal, it's going to drain you. It's going to exhaust you, and you're not going to be able to build credibility and operate at a high level. And I think that she, followed that with, if something's wrong, call it out. You don't let everything that's wrong slip by, but not everything is. You can't take everything personal. It'll just drain you. What was your takeaway, Doug?
I mean, she said something that I think it's so obvious, and she said it was obvious, and it is obvious, but it just bears repeating to just feel it's just the importance of self-confidence. And you build self-confidence by taking risks and taking the leap and being okay with failure. We talk a lot about that in LBS and the importance of learning by doing, learning by failing, and getting back up and building up that confidence muscle. But it's just so critical. And I was talking with someone yesterday about student athletes and young women trying to find their confidence and what we can do in LBS to kind of facilitate that. But it's easy to say. It's a great takeaway. It's hard to do unless you put yourself in those situations where you're taking the leap. So that's what this stays for me. And you and I have taken several leaps lately.
What I liked about her is, and this is where I kind of separate confidence and cockiness in a person, right? If you have self-confidence, but you're never taking that leap, you're never trying something, you're never pushing yourself, that's just thinking you can do something, but not actually doing something. Where self-confidence is taking the leap, knowing you're going to get punched in the face, knowing it's going to fail a lot, but you're still going to grind through all that.
Yeah.
And you're still going to get back up. That's self-confidence, right? And I think I liked her description of it, and that's where I kind of related to that point. So really good guest, really good inspiration, female construction president.
Great company here in Kalamazoo.
Great company. And she was just great to talk to.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the conversation.
Yep. So we hope everybody enjoys our conversation with Julie Byrne, president of CSM Group.
The Jungle is produced by the Center for Principled Leadership and Business Strategy in Western Michigan University's Hayworth College of Business. Our center supports the leadership and business strategy major, conducts large-scale consulting projects, and trains professionals in acquiring and operating small businesses. To learn more, visit wmich.edu/leadership center.
Julie, welcome to the Jungle.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
I'm excited. Cheers.
I have the world's largest Arnold Palmer today.
Excellent. I like Arnold Palmer. I showed you the Pepsi sign because when I'm drinking this in Zooms, people always wonder if I'm drinking Bud Light.
Oh, I was that could be confused as a Bud Light. I totally agree that can.
Like,
if you turn it
all company calls and they're giving me this look like, what is it that you have in your hand?
Well,
so
there was some early Zoom like gifts where the person had like tea in a like a tea bag hanging over the cup. It was actually alcohol, but it looked like tea.
Yeah.
So I can see how Zoom call can misinterpret your can for Bud Light.
Does that give us an early window into your leadership style, Julie?
Sure.
Okay. No,
we gotta have fun. You have to have fun, and it's not worth doing if you don't.
That's true. What are you drinking, Derek? That looks like looks pretty.
It's a Honeywell or is it Haywell drink. It's an energy focused, healthy drink.
So Derek has got, I think maybe himself, but definitely his wife on Phil Mickelson's special, the golfer, his special coffee mix. Are you noticing any difference, Derek, with that coffee?
I am. One coffee a day I'm down to, Doug.
Do you feel incredible focus in that you could win a major championship?
No, but it helps. No majors.
Okay.
Yeah, see, I don't drink coffee, so that's why I have to go to my Pepsi.
There you go. But not Coke. You're a Pepsi person.
Pepsi person. I'll drink Coke if it's my only option.
Okay. So Julie, thanks so much for joining us. I thought we would start off a little bit. I think a lot of the listeners here in Kalamazoo will know CSM Group, but you are now president. And why don't you give us, just for listeners who maybe aren't in Kalamazoo or in West Michigan, who is CSM Group?
Sure. So we're a construction management firm headquartered here in Kalamazoo. We do work nationally. We do a lot of work in kind of the core essential markets of food and beverage, industrial manufacturing, pharmaceuticals, healthcare. We were born out of the healthcare market, and then education and commercial as well. But we really have focused our markets around the kind of basic essential needs because we feel that those are essential. And that's really how we can make sure that we're staying relevant in the construction industry. So yeah, we're excited about our national footprint and continue to look to grow and broaden that network. Then we've got a lot of other things that we do that are pretty fun. We've got a daughter company, Spark Business Works, that is a technology company as well. So they develop custom software, apps, workflow tools. So that's pretty fun too. They've helped us develop some secret weapons in-house as well. So that's a little bit about us.
Give us a feel for size of CSM Group, where you guys are at in terms of number of employees or.
Yeah, so we're close to hitting 200 employees, which is really fun and exciting. I would say that we probably were in that 130 employees kind of prior to COVID. And so we've actually been able to grow through the pandemic, which is really exciting.
It's great. Everybody, I think in Kalamazoo knows CSM Group, our office space downtown, CSM Group renovations for our Sleeping Giant, our management fund. So that's great to see. And there's a new building. Is it the courthouse going up downtown Kalamazoo?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And then we just finished 180 Water Street, where Warner Norcross is also in there. Kalamazoo Promise is a tenant as well. So very exciting and impactful project for the downtown area. So yeah, looking forward to the courthouse as well. But yeah, again, that's who we are. We want to impact the communities in which we, are living, playing, working in. And so that's really been the focus of the organization locally, and then expanding kind of on that national footprint. So we want to also have those impacts in those other cities as well. So
I will say, if you're ever in Kalamazoo, go by the new 180 Water Street building. It is gorgeous for Kalamazoo.
Yes,
and it's
fantastic.
It's a new landmark downtown. I'll give it that. How is that what we call it? New downtown landmark? It's beautiful.
Yeah. So what's the secret sauce for CSM Group? You're in construction management. What makes you guys special and unique?
I think we're very client centric. We listen to the voice of our customers to make sure that we're having an influence and impacting their businesses, our people. I know that that's pretty cliche. We hear that a lot out of different organizations that feel like their people are the best, but truly our people care about the work that we're doing. They care about our customers. We pride ourselves in being a talent-driven organization. We provide resources for our teammates, training. We've got an internal, it's called CSM University training program. And I think that helps our employees really feel that they're valued, right? And then they can learn different things to help them in their jobs, help them be successful, not just from a technical side, but soft skills as well, and helps them be a better person. We've got wellness programs and those types of things. So again, we take care of our people, and in return, our teammates are really engaged and excited about the work that they're doing.
We were excited to get you on. We had actually a meeting about something related to learning with Steve East, and a great adventure in terms of business person and thinker. And we were so excited to get you on because you were transitioning into being president at CSM during the pandemic. I guess we're kind of still in the pandemic, on the outside of the pandemic. Would be curious, what lessons or experiences you had becoming a president in that time that you're now going to take with you into the future. That was a good learning experience or good lesson.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, because obviously everybody knows that this whole pandemic has been a challenge. And so to kind of pivot into this leadership role was really exciting. And, it's really about being focused and prepared for those types of things. So from my seat, I think we've got a pretty incredible executive team. And so me pivoting into this role wasn't, this huge change, I guess, if you will, because we work really well together as a team. I would say just needing to be forward thinking and innovative throughout this whole process. So changing a little bit of our mindset of kind of what we're doing every day. How do we do it different? How do we do it better? And be aware of what's happening in the industry, because there's been so much disruption in the construction industry through this pandemic. Just when you think that you're taking, 2 steps forward, then you are taking 5 steps backwards again. And so it's being agile and nimble, and really trying to predict what's going to be coming down the pipe in the future and how we can influence that. We know that there's a labor shortage. That's all you hear about the construction industry, is the labor shortage. We're having issues from a supply chain perspective and getting materials. Pricing is extremely erratic. So trying to anticipate what a customer's project is going to cost is a lot of fun. Our estimating team is pulling their hair out, but it's, again, it's being strategic. It's having a lot of open communication and making sure that we're having those conversations. So yeah, it's been an interesting ride, kind of moving into this role during the pandemic, but I don't know. I think, some of it is you just have to roll with it and come up with a plan. And if that doesn't work, you try something different. So
I got a question for you, Julie. So
yeah,
you transitioned into president during COVID.
Yeah.
Right. The construction has been impacted almost as much as any other industry.
Yep.
If there's some leaders listening to this, is there something you do daily or weekly that you think, I've really adopted this as part of my leadership style, I suggest that everyone should do it? And could you give an example of how you kind of implement that tactic at CSM?
Yeah, I would say it's really evolves around communication. You have to have effective communication and things that you're doing as an organization so that you're having that dialogue. Something that we implemented during COVID was it started off as weekly all company calls because there was so much fear and unknown into what was happening. And things were changing by the hour, by the day. And so that kind of pivoted into more of right now we're still doing a monthly all company call, but it just helps from that awareness perspective. As a leadership team, we meet every week, and that's important to be having those conversations so that we're all staying in front of what's happening. So I would say communication has been the key. We know that, when things don't go well, it's probably because there was a misunderstanding or miscommunication. And so I don't know, it seems pretty simple, but I would say that that's kind of the crux of how we've kind of moved forward in this pandemic and something that we'll continue to do as an organization. And again, I think it helps our employees have that awareness around what's going on so that they aren't left in the dark, or they can pivot and find ways that they can influence where the organization is going, or help with an initiative, or they might have a relationship with somebody that can influence what we're trying to do. So communication, I think, is the key.
How about an angle onto that, the whole virtual in-person part of the communication? Are you guys doing more stuff virtually? How are you guys thinking about that?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a mix because, as you can imagine, like on the project side, our teammates have to be on site full time, every day. And so our office, right now, we're still giving our teammates the option, if they want to come into the office or work remote. And again, I think the teammates have really found ways to work effectively together with a blend between folks that are working remote and folks that are in person. And so fortunately for us, we've got a pretty kick-butt IT department. And so we were really set up for being able to work virtually prior to the pandemic. So when it hit, we were all fine. We all had laptops. All our systems are on the cloud. So it really wasn't as big of an impact on how we work and where we're at. I think the biggest challenge was from a sales and getting in front of clients. But what we found too is sometimes it was easier to get in front of customers because there wasn't travel involved or this big to do. It was let's quickly jump on a Zoom call and you can get everybody from wherever they were at to have those conversations. Yeah. So I think it's helped us be more flexible with respect to that.
We talk a little bit about the industry. You started mentioning some of those disruptions around pricing and supply chain and labor. What do you see on you started talking about some of the day-to-day themes that you see, but maybe project out a little bit. What are you seeing coming into the future? Is it more buildings? Is it less buildings? Is it different buildings? What's the future hold in construction management?
Yeah, I think it's starting to pivot. We know that from an office perspective, people are finding new ways to work. I don't think that the office environment per se is going to go away. I think, folks just might not need as big of spaces than they once thought that they needed to. Again, I think from a market perspective, it's going to be, again, continuing in that manufacturing, food and beverage, pharma, advanced tech, biotech. I think the growth is going to be in those spaces. We're seeing a lot from a warehousing perspective. Everybody's doing online shopping and all these other things, right? And so as folks are making these products, they also need somewhere to store them. So we're seeing kind of an uptick in that market as well. I think sustainability is really important, and the industry is making that pivot into sustainability. So, I think the EV market is going to be hot, but not only just from who our clients are, but I think it's also how we do the work and how we deliver our projects. So I think customers are going to need to be rethinking their facilities and what those look like. We already incorporate sustainability practices into facilities, and it's code, but I think it's going to start to maybe look a little bit different into the future. Clients, we need to be part of that solution as well, and how we're delivering construction management services. What kinds of things can we control on a site, whether it's recycling and whatnot? I think clients are starting to think about their carbon footprint and trying to go to net zero, and how can they change their business model, and they're setting goals around that. And then supply chain, again, it's where are we getting materials from? Is there an easier way, a better way, a manufacturer that's closer so that things aren't traveling so far to get to a job site? There's fuel and other things. So I think from a sustainability, and I'm just speaking primarily right now about sustainability with respect to the environment, but there's a whole broader concept with respect to sustainability that I think is going to be the future of where we're moving. So,
are you finding then clients are actually, picking you versus another vendor because of sustainability or your transparency or your data or your practices?
Yeah, absolutely. I think transparency, I'm glad that you brought that up. I think that's something that is a differentiator for us. We go into it as a partner for a client. We're not just looking for business relationships, we're looking for partnerships. So yeah, absolutely. I think that's a key to it. And again, just bringing that value, that knowledge and understanding and what they should be thinking about in the future, and not just today. So that's the expertise that I think our team kind of brings to the table to our customers.
So I think you left our listeners hanging there one question ago.
Oh, yeah.
The broader aspect of sustainability, the beyond the environment, and through CSM Group, and this is a hot topic in investing in almost every business class. How do the CSM Group look at the broader aspect of sustainability?
Yeah, so I would say one piece of that is safety. That's a big component into sustainability. We take a pretty non-traditional approach to safety with respect to the construction market. I don't know if you know Dr. John Austin, but he used to be a professor at Western Michigan University, and he's been working with us for, it's been a long time, probably 12 or 13 years on our safety program, and he leads a behavioral safety leadership approach to that. It's not just kind of browbeating the trades if they're not wearing a hard hat or whatnot. It's trying to come up with, asking the 5 whys and what is causing somebody to respond a certain way or take some kind of an action or behavior. And so we really want to improve what that looks like. It's not just from a physical aspect of safety, it's also from a behavioral and psychological. I think that's another thing as an organization. We want our people to feel safe, not just based on their surroundings, but we want them to all have a voice. We want them to feel like it's okay to speak what's on their mind without having any kind of retribution. And so I think that speaks a lot to our culture as well. But it's really important. You think about the construction industry and we're this rough industry, but people still want to be cared for. They might not want to admit it, but they still want to be cared for. And so, we want to hear the voices of our partners, our trades, our architect and engineering partners, our clients. And so how do we create a space that we can all have open conversations around what's going on instead of, brushing things under the rug or hoping that they aren't going to be an issue down the road. We want to hit it head on. So I think that's helped us. But again, I think a big piece from an organizational sustainability perspective.
So you mentioned, rough and gruff.
That was good transition, Dick.
It's like it was served so perfectly. But I mean, I think this is one of the reasons we wanted to talk to you was the perception is construction management, male dominated is the perception industry, and then all of the what we would say maybe less redeeming aspects of masculinity gets wrapped around the construction industry, and now you're a woman president in that industry. Would love to hear what is that experience like? Is that walk us into maybe to what it's been like for you, and maybe is that perception right or wrong, or how do you deal with it?
Yeah, I mean, I've had an incredible experience. I've had a lot of fun. So a little background for me, I went to Pennsylvania State University. So I went to Penn State. I have my civil engineering degree. And so, I was trying to decide what I wanted to do, if I wanted to go to engineering or the construction management side. And so I chose to go into the construction management side because I felt like, well, if I don't know how to build it, how am I going to design it? So the thought was, I'll spend a few years in the construction industry and then I'll, kind of pivot back into the engineering side. But I fell in love with it. And clearly I haven't left. So that's kind of how I started. And I just never let that kind of stigma get in my way. Right. I always had this outlook, or advice that I would give others is you have to have self-confidence. There's a fine line between confidence and arrogance, but you can't be afraid to fail. Failure really makes you better and stronger at the end. And so I learned very early on to ask a lot of questions and be very curious. The trades, when I was out in the field, because I started out in the field, and I would get, the guys coming into the trailer and they'd be like, hey, so where's your superintendent? And I'd kind of raise my hand like, yeah, you're looking at her. And they'd have this like shocked look on their face, like, no, this can't be. I'm stuck on this project with this girl that probably doesn't know what she's doing. So I learned very early that you had to, build credibility with the teams. They had to understand that you did know what you were talking about. You were working with them for the betterment of the project and to serve our clients and finish a project. So it was a lot of fun. And I just learned it's a people business. You have to learn how to get along with people, how to motivate people and inspire them. And so I don't know. I kept trying to make CSM better. I kept trying to make our processes better. I kept trying to make our trade partners better. And what did that look like? And it was being a good partner. And I just, I was very vulnerable. I was very humble and very curious. And I think I took a very servant leadership approach as well. So, I mean, me walking in to this industry and thinking that I knew everything I was not going to be successful. And it wasn't true, right? I had a lot to learn. And so I think those that work with me and for me kind of know that about me, where, it's a team effort. Let's figure it out together. And so I think that really helped me in this industry kind of move forward. And they saw that my heart was in it, that I was very passionate about it. And that's the other thing, it doesn't matter what industry you're in or the work that you're doing, you have to love what you do. And I think that starts to bleed through into your work, and it's contagious, and other people see that and want to be a part of it and help you be successful. So I don't know, that's kind of my take on it. And again, it's been a ton of fun. It's been a ton of fun, and you just can't let the little things get to you. You do have to have a little bit of thick skin when you're trying to to work in an industry that's non-traditional for your gender, but it doesn't mean you get to ignore things that aren't right either, you know? And I think I was never afraid to address things head on or speak my mind in a productive way. And so, yeah, I don't know. That's a little bit about kind of my journey.
So how do you find that, you mentioned self-confidence. What's your message to, women leaders out there who are, maybe are wrestling with that? I was talking to someone actually yesterday about that, and talking to someone that, the young women they work with are having some of those self-confidence issues. How do you build that muscle, or what was helpful in your experience?
Yeah, I think you can't take things personally, right? You can't let everything continue to affect you and bring you down. I think, negativity and conflict, it wastes so much time and energy in the business place. And so when you let things kind of get to you and not take those things by, the bull by the horns, and really learn from it and pivot and try, and you just can't be afraid of those things. And you can't let negativity and those types of things suck the energy out of you, because you could spend all day, dwelling about something that didn't work. And is it because I'm a female? Or right? You can go down this crazy path, but you don't want to. That it's not productive. And so you just have to just really learn from it and move forward, and not be afraid to fail. That's the biggest thing, is you can't be afraid of that failure, or else you're not going to take that leap forward.
So the leap of faith sitting on that is so important. It's so important.
Yeah. And, it's not that, I care what people think of me, obviously, but I don't let it be paralyzing, right? It's like, okay, well, this didn't go well. So what am I going to do about it? I can be upset or mad, but, again, what's that going to do? I can learn from it and figure out how to pivot from there and do something different or better. So, yeah. So that, I don't know, that's been a lot of how I've approached it.
Derek's saying to himself right now, he's like, man, Doug could learn a lot from Julie.
Well, I was thinking of one other thing. So labor shortages, right? Construction obviously is one of the worst hit industries in terms of labor shortages.
Yes.
Unfortunately, in our society, most people are, point their kids to college degrees in something.
Yes.
And Doug and I both have daughters. It wouldn't be normal for me to say, hey, you should go into construction management to my daughter. Right. What would you say to maybe a 16, 18-year-old, our daughters aren't there yet, but someone that's like, I'm thinking of going to university. I want to make sure I've got opportunity afterwards. If I want to attend Western, I have this amazing inspiration in town, president of a construction company. How would you inspire a young female to enter construction management? What would you say to them?
Oh God, I would say do it. It's so much fun. Every day is different, right? There's some jobs that you go in and you do the same thing and the same churn every day. I would say what I love about the construction industry is it's about problem solving, and it's about building relationships. And so it's very unique. You get to see the results of all of your hard work through construction. And it doesn't even have to be, in construction. It could be a trade, like not just construction management, but in the trades, in the AE, architects and engineering realm. And it's like, if you want to do marketing, work for a construction company, that's still getting involved in the industry. It doesn't just have to be in this engineering or construction management space. You can still influence the industry without having to be in the thick of it. But I would encourage anybody to get engaged and be in the thick of it. It's a ton of fun. It's very rewarding. So my degree is civil engineering, and there's a million things that you can do with my degree. Construction management just happens to be one of them, right? There's structural engineering, there's transportation, there's material. There's an incredible amount of things that you can do that touches the construction industry without working for a construction management firm. So there's endless possibilities. You get to meet so many cool people. So I don't know if that was inspiring, but I would say do it because it's very rewarding. It's a lot of fun, and it's an incredible experience.
So
and it's challenging. It's not like this easy thing that you get into. I think people think that, oh, well, they're just out there building something. They have a set of plans, but let me tell you that what's on paper doesn't always work. And and it's working with people to get to an end product and figure out how to do it. I don't know. It's pretty cool.
Well, we won't take any more of your time, Julie. Julie was, you weren't the hardest guest to get, but man, you are busy. Which is great. But before we get to rapid fire, for the listeners who are not watching on YouTube, what is I see a piece of what the saying is on behind you. What is the saying behind you? Oh yeah.
So the saying is knowledge speaks, but wisdom listens. So again, as it doesn't matter what position you're in as a leader, we're all leaders. You've got to be able to listen. I think that's how you learn. And that's how you create great relationships, and it helps you solve problems and do great work. So listening and being curious, I think is really important.
So we'll go rapid fire. So
all right.
These are one word questions. CSM with a CSM flair to them. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. Favorite leader
in CSM?
No.
I was like, I don't think I should do that.
No. Favorite. I just have a couple specific ones for you, but favorite leader general.
Oh God, I don't know. That's a tough question. Can I pass?
No.
Oh.
It's rapid fire.
It's rapid fire.
I don't know. I can't think. I'm blanking out. Let's come back to that one.
Okay. Courage or compassion?
Courage.
Speed or accuracy?
Accuracy.
Great ideas or great execution?
Great ideas.
Word to describe your leadership style?
Servant leadership.
Night owl or early bird?
Early bird for sure.
Steel or concrete?
Steel.
Favorite industry to build in?
I have to say education, because that's where I spent most of my career.
Okay. It's a dangerous jungle. You have a difficult business task in front of you or construction task in front of you. Who are you going to take with you?
My dad.
All right. And you get to come back to your favorite leader question. And I'll wrap up.
I would say our new CEO.
Okay. And what's his name?
Stuart Mason.
Stuart Mason. Okay.
Yes.
Shout out to Stuart.
Shout out to Stuart. It's been a lot of fun. He's been with us only a few weeks, and so far it's been a blast.
Well, we should shout out to Bob from Sparks too, right? Sparks.
Oh yeah.
And
a shout out to Bob too.
He's a Western alum, so we'll give him a little shout out.
Yeah.
All right.
He gets second place, but he's first place.
All right. Don't tell him he got second.
Okay. We won't tell him that. So, and to close out, if you had an animal that reflected your leadership, what would be your animal?
Oh, geez, Pete. These are really hard questions. Tiger. I don't know. I just made that up.
Why did tiger pop in your head?
I don't know. Fierce.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay.
So wonderful. Julie Byrne, I want like burn the house down, Julie Byrne.
Yeah, like
president of CSM Group, great company here in Kalamazoo, growing, thriving, lots of companies, entrepreneurial, innovative. Great to see all the work. I know the community thanks all the stuff that you're doing, and great to see your success. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you. It's been fun.
Take care.
Take care.